And we're live here on YouTube. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land. And also my buddy Rich. Rich, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. So it's been nice the past couple of days to have weather in the mid to high 60s and being able to drive around town with the windows down.
Yep, I did the same thing on the way home today. It was 73 degrees on our way. Mm-hmm. So you guys are getting the thunderstorms right now. We had them.
Oh yeah,
we had them a few hours ago. On our way to Walmart, it was 73 degrees pulling into the parking lot. Gotcha. As it started raining. I drop the wife and the kids off at the door, come back, join them. We do our Walmart thing. We do all of that. We get back, and when we get back, it is 53 degrees.
Wow, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Quite a big difference.
Yeah, that is a fun time when it comes to thunderstorms, but it wasn't too bad.
Okay, we're going through it right now. I think we've heard the sirens go off. We've heard the sirens in the distance, probably for
Rock Island,
probably for the neighboring town of Walcott Bluegrass area. Yeah. And I think while we were kind of prepping the outline, I heard the sirens here, but I can hear the rain outside the window.
Oh, okay.
Here in the basement. So Rich, it's not that bad though.
Rich and I are both in basements, by the way. I mean, hopefully your wife can come down. She's fine. She can go hang out and do whatever she wants. But we're both in basements. We're both safe. If one of us gets knocked off the air, the other one will. If the bridge gets knocked,
you'll carry on. We will carry on.
But are you guys slated to get 1 to 4 inches of snow in the next 24 hours as well?
Probably not.
Yeah, we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a good thing that we're still doing wintertime polls.
I know you thought
you're still getting some rain.
Yeah,
you're getting snow.
We're gonna get 1 to 3. We might get as much as 1 to 3 inches tonight. In fact, we're right in that transition period where it's supposed to go from rain to snow, and then it's gonna do that overnight, and then at like 9 in the morning, it's gonna go back to rain, and it'll do that for like 2 hours, and then it's gonna go back to snow for the rest of the day, and hopefully get out of here. I don't know. I'm not a weather person. This is what the last time I looked at the Weather Channel, that's what the Weather Service. I still support the Weather Service, by the way. But last time I saw that, that's what it was. So it's gonna be fun. But Rich, we got a lot to talk about today. We do. So I will. You know what? I'm gonna get to. I'll talk about. We're going to talk about the NFL. We actually just discussed it did some practice. We got a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about in the NFL. We're going to talk about winners and losers in the NFL. Also, we're going to talk Masked Singer at the end of the show. Rich, what else do we got this week?
Well, Mike, we got to recap and talk NASCAR as we got to recap Phoenix and give our predictions for Las Vegas.
Yep.
And Mike, Tuesday morning. Early morning, getting up at the crack of dawn to watch some Cubs baseball.
Rich, you're a military man. What time is that?
Early.
Oh, dark 30, right? Oh, dark 30.
That's right. Oh, dark 30. All right, Mike, but all that and more, what do we got to do first, buddy?
We got to go ahead and roll the intro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. And we're back. With that, Rich, we got a poll question to talk about. You alluded to it earlier. We are going to talk about it now. So... What was the poll question this week?
Yeah, our poll question this week was our number 2 seed making snow angels versus skiing and snowboarding. Skiing/snowboarding, not 3 activities. So Mike, I've never, as I explained when skiing and snowboarding was first up for a poll discussion, I had mentioned that I had never done skiing or snowboarding,
Yep.
So I went with making snow angels, which
Yeah.
I haven't done in a long time, but at least I know I've done that at least sometime in my life.
Oh, I've done it in the last year.
Hmm.
I
But you
regularly.
also have little kids.
I do it with my high school students, heck, I'll get like my wife will make a joke and I'll just drop down and make a snow angel and I'll say, "Look, I'm an angel."
Hmm.
Um, but no, um, yeah, it's one of those things that um, that I would
Okay.
I love doing it. I do it just for fun. I love doing that. But if I were to choose, I would want to go out and actually go to making snowing, or I would go skiing and snowboarding. I love doing it. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. So I picked
All right,
that,
Mike.
and the cheese stands alone.
All right. So, Mike, you were the only person that voted for skiing, snowboarding. Mike, tell us, besides myself, who voted for making snow angels?
Yeah, I got Matt Johnson, buddy of the show. Good job, Matt. And you got Danielle Hart. And Rich, you didn't vote.
I didn't?
You didn't vote.
Dang. Forgot. I am trying to stay off of Facebook.
That's okay. You didn't vote. Matt Johnson, Danielle Hart, and Nathan Ross. So you actually won by you had 3 votes on your side that you didn't even vote with.
Hmm.
But,
I will make sure to vote after I post the poll and shut down Facebook for the rest of the week.
Hey, that's fine. Speaking of fans of Balls and Sticks podcast or fans of Balls and Sticks podcast, please jump on there, join in our NCAA tournament. By the way, we totally forgot
Selection Sunday.
Yeah, it's Selection Sunday, baby. Man, this is great. Gonna be a good week for sports. And yeah. Anyway, let's get back to it.
So yeah, if you're watching us on YouTube or if you found our show on podcast land, make sure to check the description where we'll also put the link to join our tournament bracket challenge over on Yahoo Fantasy. So this week's poll question, Mike, will be our number 1 seed building a snowman going up against our number 5 seed snowball fight. And while many people in our area of our area of listenership, if there is one, probably in the Midwest, probably don't think of it's not wintertime anymore, but we still have 3 more weeks of wintertime activities, and we'll be going to more springtime activities in our first show during the first full week of April.
Perfect. By the way, Rich, I'm getting 2 to 3 inches of snow overnight.
I know.
So it's still snow time. Okay. With that being said, do you see what's coming up next, Rich?
Is it a left turn?
It is a left turn, and after that, Rich?
Is it another left-hand turn?
It is, and why is that, Rich?
Well, Mike, because we're going to go into the NASCAR corner. The NASCAR corner is presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois, and they're also on eBay. Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated for all your sports cards and memorabilia needs.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. So last week we were down in Phoenix for the Shriners Children's Hospital 500. Your winner, 3rd race in a row, Christopher Bell. First driver to win 3 races in a row in the Gen 7 car. Mike, how did our picks do?
Rich, my pick of Ryan Blaney fell back to 28th, and your pick of Kyle Larson got 3rd. But I have a story to tell you.
Okay.
I was busy during the race. I didn't actually watch most of the race. I watched a little bit at the beginning, dropped off for a little bit. I think I had William Byron sitting in my garage. No, I didn't. I had Kyle Larson sitting. Either Kyle Larson or William Byron. One of those 2 sitting in my garage.
Okay.
And traded it in.
Did you bench Christopher Bell?
I did not.
Okay.
I put Denny Hamlin away instead of Ryan Blaney. Otherwise, I would have had Larson, Bell, Logano, Byron, and Hamlin. All were in the top 10. As it is, at the Phoenix Raceway, I still won, but I could have had a much bigger win. As I won 208 to 197 to 146. You can still join. And overall, Rich, that does get me into the lead with 116. The new Dupo is at 1. Oh, wait. No, I'm in third place. Why did it...
You are in third place in the overall standings.
Time out.
16.
Time out.
Yes.
Time out. So I'm on the league page on Fantasy, right?
Yep.
It automatically sorts me to the top of the list no matter my position.
Yeah, I'm not liking that. The new update. I remembered that regardless of where you were, because right now you're correct. I'm showing that I'm in first place in the league. No, it's sorting
Solomon.
you.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. And there's no way
sure
to tell
Solomon
it how
opens
to...
up his app. He would be showing as number one,
but he is number one.
He is number one.
But again, you can't sort. You can't change it. Come on, NASCAR. You're better.
Yeah, so Mike, you are in third place with 616. I'm the man in the middle with 661. And the new Dupo is in the lead with 683. So close.
Yeah. I would have been I would have done a lot better though. If I would have kept Denny Hamlin in but by the way, that was right as we were going into right at the end of the second stage. And at that point, my lineup was awesome. Brian Blaney was doing great at that point in the race. I also would have felt bad not having Ryan Blaney as he was my pick last week.
All right, Mike. So this week, the drivers will stay out west as they will be in Las Vegas for the Pennzoil 400 presented by Walmart. So, Mike, with getting the honors from my driver of Kyle Larson finishing well above your pick of Blaney, I really do want to pick Larson or Chastain, but I've picked them recently, so I want to go with somebody else for Vegas this week, and I'm going to go with Tyler Reddick. Normally at this type of track, Reddick does really well, as he does well with driving right up against the wall, which is what you need to do in Vegas. So I'm going to go with Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, I like that pick. I think that's a great one. I'm going to go with a hometown hero.
Okay.
As I'm going to put in Kyle Busch.
All right. Kyle Busch and Tyler Reddick are the picks for this week. All right. So that is the NASCAR corner, Mike. So go ahead and take us out.
This has been the NASCAR Corner, presented as always by I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs on 5th Avenue in Moline or on their eBay store. Once again, this is I Sports Cards Incorporated, the NASCAR Corner. Okay, with that, Rich, let's keep making left-hand turns, but this time on the diamond as we watch baseball for the first time this season.
Yep. So this week the Cubs will be in Japan for a quick two-game series with the Los Angeles Dodgers. But they also get to play 2 exhibition games against the Yomiuri Giants and the Hirshan Dragons. So they got games. The one going on right now against the Tigers, I think.
Yeah.
And they face the Yomiuri Giants on Sunday.
Is that
early morning in the Central Time?
Is that being broadcast on the app
on the Marquee? It is on the Marquee network.
No. I wasn't talking the Marquee network. I meant on the radio one that I told you about last year.
It is not on the radio. They are not doing the radio feed for these 2 exhibition games.
That's terrible. How do you have baseball without radio?
Or at least for the exhibition games, they're not.
Okay.
So Mike, last week we kind of talked about the division winner predictions. So we're gonna put a pause on who we think is going to be in the NLCS and ALCS and NLCS for next week, and we're just gonna focus on the 2 Cubs games.
Yeah. So
on Tuesday and Wednesday morning.
And we're gonna talk about the Cubs season overall. What do we expect? Right?
Okay.
Wasn't that part of what we were supposed to do?
Yeah, we can do that.
The Cubs in preview. I really like what the Cubs have done in the offseason. I joke. Okay. I'm going to make a joke. Everybody out there listening, understand I am joking. This is 100% just me making a joke because it feels weird looking at the Cubs and the Bears being such a good team right now, both, that I think Jesus must be coming back, right? Like, mid-September, October, somewhere in that time frame, right before the Cubs go make a playoff run, and right before the Bears launch into the greatest season we've had since 2008, right? 2008 when they won so many games.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I mean, the theory goes that only one Chicago sports team is doing well at a time.
I don't understand it. Like right now, they are both doing great. They are making wise decisions, and I love it. The 40-man roster looks great. The depth chart looks great. How happy are you that, first of all, do you want to do the game first or do you want to do the Cubs first? I guess I'll throw that to you because I kind of threw the curveball of let's finish off the Cubs preseason. We did the over-under.
I don't know. I remember us talking about this was on our outline 2 weeks ago, but
it was.
It's okay to circle back around.
But now
I think we do have the 40-man roster kind of finalized.
Yeah.
So we know the team that's going. We know which players made the trip over to Japan, and we probably know what the 40-man roster is going to look like when they go back to Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks for the U.S. season opener in Phoenix.
Yep.
So I like what the Cubs have done as well. I'm still kind of in wait and see mode with the bullpen because Ryan Presley was a great closer, but I would have rather had him 2 years ago rather than now.
Yeah, I can buy that.
So I'm a little bit concerned with that, with what the back end of the bullpen could look like. But I've probably felt this is probably the best I've felt about the ballpark in the last since they started the sell-off.
Yeah.
In 2020. So
yeah, no, that's you expressed everything I needed to express, and so I guess we're done with that preview.
What else would you like to talk about?
No, I think our starting rotation looks good. Imanaga looks great. Steele looks good. I think Boyd, I'm a little questioning. He's Tolan. Teon, I'm good with, but Boyd is where I start to. Do we really have a 5-man rotation there, or is?
But you got some good depth though with Ben Brown, and Javier Assad once he recovers from his injury, and Jordan Wicks, Cade Horton.
We have decent, but if you're talking our depth chart, it's Shota, Justin, Jameson, Matt, and then 4 guys that are competing for that 4th spot. Really, right?
Yeah, but you know what the Cubs also have? They have a great farm system. So if they're in it at this trade deadline, they can engage in trade discussions with maybe a team like Seattle and
you brought up
San Diego, Seattle and San Diego, which I think both those teams could have performances or a record that is below expectations, so they might sell
Yeah.
off pieces
You
that the
brought
Cubs
up
need in starting pitchers.
you brought up a great point that I liked, and that is I like Priestley. I like that he is a good closer, but like you said, that those last 2-3 years really make you question whether or not he's still the guy you want as a closer, or if we should be looking at somebody else. Now, that being said, there's always a possibility he comes back and has a lightning season and looks great and helps the team make a great run. But
Or you know what? Or he's good enough
yeah,
that he can get us to the trade deadline to where we're in a position to acquire another closer, and he can go back to being in an eighth inning role instead of the ninth inning role. Kind of like what Hector Rondon
100%.
was in 16. He was
Yep.
he was a decent closer, but was he of the level of Aroldis Chapman, who we acquired at the trade deadline?
Nope, and
No.
I agree with you. Okay, so with that, this week, game in Japan. Are you waking up?
2 games. I am waking up. I
Both
took
days or
Tuesday
just one?
off. No, just one.
Okay.
I took Tuesday off. I'll probably try and wake up early, and
Is that
while the
on
warehouse doesn't
ESPN?
open up. I'm sorry.
Is that on ESPN?
It's on Fox. The Wednesday game is on Fox. The Tuesday game is on Fox. The Wednesday game 2, is on FS1.
I might wake up and go into work at 5 a.m.
Yeah. So
Because we have a
so
giant projector that I can put it on.
Mhm. Yeah. So for the Tuesday game, I took the day off.
Okay.
I got a biscuit and gravy kit from Costco, so I can make a good breakfast and have breakfast, baseball and breakfast, and enjoy the morning of watching Cubs baseball,
Yeah.
and not have to worry about going and then probably take a nap later in the
I
afternoon
think
because I had to
Wednesdays-
get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Wednesday's going to be the day. So this week we have a day. We have days at work. It's spring break up here,
Mhm.
and I think I'm going to take Tuesday or Wednesday, and one of those days I'm going to bring in my mini grill that we have taken up to Milwaukee many a times. I
Yep.
still have that grill, by the way. Works great. I love that thing. That's a perfect tailgating grill. I'm gonna light it up, put some dogs or some burgers on the grill, just to have a good old time. So I think we're gonna do that on Tuesday or Wednesday this upcoming week. So
Well, yeah, with YouTube, with having YouTube TV, I think I'm going to try and sync up the radio call as best I can to the radio action
yeah,
on the TV.
yeah,
So enjoying hearing Pat and Ron. Hopefully, I think Pat and Ron are making the trip out to Japan,
I hope
or
so.
or whoever they have on the radio call instead of the Fox national telecast. So, Mike, it brings us to our point. Each week from show to show during the regular season, we're going to give you a prediction of how many games we think the Cubs are going to win from week to week. So it's a 2-game series. You're going to have Shota Imanaga and Yamamoto. I'm not going to try and butcher his first name for the Dodgers in game 1. In game 2, it'll be Rocky Sasaki. Probably said that one wrong too, but the rookie pitcher that the Dodgers signed, whose first year coming out of Japan. And he will go up against the Man of Steel, Justin Steele, in game number 2. So, Mike, how many wins are you going to give him?
Because of the crazy circumstances involved in this game, in both
Mhm.
games, I'm going to say they win one.
I would agree. I think that I really haven't heard much greatness out of how Sasaki is doing
Yeah.
in spring training, so I think he could be in for a little bit of a rude awakening while he adjusts to the major league level competition.
Yeah.
But I think he'll do okay. He'll do okay in the long run, but there'll be a little bit of an adjustment period.
Yep.
So I think they're going to lose they're going to lose Tuesday, but they're going to win Tuesday. Win Wednesday and get out of Japan with a 1-1 record.
Yep. So, Rich, next week we're going to do predictions on ALCS and NLCS, and we will then give you our World Series matchup, but not who wins, which will be the following week. So join us in those two games, and then next week we don't next week they would have a game, so we do need to do predictions there, don't we?
Yes, there will be a one game. I'm looking at their.
So there'll be a game in Arizona on Thursday, the 27th.
Yes, so that game will happen on a Thursday, so that will happen from show to show.
Yep.
Before we go on the air, they will play that game, and then more than likely, because we'll be recording on a Friday night or maybe even a Saturday night, we might have to adjust what our range of games is during the week of the 29th or 30th.
Speaking of which, I am going to opening day in Kansas City. I can't wait.
Ooh. Get some barbecue while you're down there.
I'm going to try to. Okay, with that, Rich, any other baseball talk you want to do?
The only other thing I can think of that just kind of came out today, Mike, was that the Tampa Bay Rays might be no more. Throughout the entire, the past 2 years, there have been discussions on how they were going to redevelop the site where the Tropicana Field currently sits, where they were going to be building a brand new ballpark within that same neighborhood where the Trop's at, in the parking lot, build it up, tear down the Trop, and then bring in other hotels, restaurants, apartment buildings, and really make a ballpark village out of a parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
Basically. And because of Hurricane Milton, that's ravaged the Trop to where they may not get to play there. They might be back in the Trop by 26.
Yeah.
But all of 25, they're going to be playing on the Tampa side of what is Tampa Bay.
Yep.
At the Yankees' single A affiliate stadium, Steinbrenner Field.
Yep. Well, and
so supposedly the ownership has said that the team's not for sale. We're just going to pivot and hopefully continue working on a new stadium location and plan to keep the team in the Tampa area.
There's also big news. I think it was officially made yesterday that the deal has been struck.
Okay.
And we officially have a team in Sacramento. The final details were finalized this week.
Okay.
For this year, and I think next year even.
Yeah. The A's will be playing in Sacramento for at least 2 years, maybe even longer.
Well, the problem is they didn't have next year locked in, I think is what it was.
Okay.
Next year got locked in. So, but officially, starting in a week and a half, there will be 2 weeks, I guess. There will be baseball in Sacramento, California.
Yep. But they will just be the Athletics, not the Sacramento Athletics.
Yeah. So, with that, Rich, we are at just about the halfway point of the show.
Okay. And I really think we do have a lot to talk about with the NFL.
Yeah,
we do. I'm just hoping to
let's get it going.
Let's be organized. Let's at least be organized, Mike.
I got notes. I got notes, people.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to stick to them, but first thing we got to talk about, free agency. Obviously, I think the biggest, and I think you agree, currently the biggest winning team is the Chicago Bears.
I would agree. I like what they've done. I think there's potential with the defensive lineman that they signed from Indianapolis.
Yep.
Not going to try and butcher his name.
No.
But he's got potential.
Yep.
I think I would have rather signed Jonathan Allen, who signed with Minnesota.
Yeah.
but more on him later. But Grady Jarrett's still a good veteran presence. I think he's still got a lot left in the tank. So not a bad signing. I just would have rather had the younger guy.
Yeah.
And I did like that. And of course, they continued to build out that offensive line by bringing in the best center on the free agent market in Drew Dahlman.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's the moves that they made are by far and away, like we've been talking about it, but officially this is the first week of free agency, so the Bears were able to sign a few guys. They were able to, they got some trades done this season already. This team is looking like coming together. I also I'm not saying they don't need to work on maybe getting some younger offensive linemen, but that doesn't mean we need to use all of our draft capital that we have now just to get offensive linemen. We've bolstered that offensive line a ton, which is what we've been needing for our last two quarterbacks. I'm not going to... We'll get there in a second. We're going to get there in a second, people.
Okay.
But that's all I gotta say about it. I'm super excited.
But you know,
they're doing great.
You know, one signing that I didn't realize until I looked over the list of everybody, like grades, if you want to call them that, and the list of people that have signed. The Bears signed Gardner Minshew to be the backup quarterback.
Okay, league minimum, I'm guessing.
It does not say what the terms were, just that he signed.
Okay.
So I think with what the Bears have done, I'm really hoping that Alshon Janney can slip to us at number 10. Number 10, and really to get a solid run game behind that beefed up offensive line. And I would say the only other two areas that I think that they need to really address to maybe complete this team would maybe be a couple a linebacker.
Yeah.
And I would say an inexpensive mid-tier wide receiver to be that wide receiver number 3. I don't think it needs to come from the draft unless the best player available just happens to be a wide receiver.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see him sign a wide receiver.
Yeah, I think that would be very helpful.
To complement Odunze and DJ Moore.
Yeah.
But I think the secondary is good. You could use another pass rusher as an edge rusher.
Yep.
But I don't think you necessarily need to maybe overdraft if the guy's not there at number 10. And so I would go linebacker, wide receiver, and running back. I think the rest of the way. Yeah.
No, the moves that they have made are, I think, some of the best that we've seen this year, and all the exciting things that come out of it. It's just, I hadn't seen that. Oh. That's okay. That's just a rumor. That's not an actual thing. Okay. Okay. So, Rich, we've already talked about how great the Bears are. We've already talked about how much we're happy with what they've done. Now let's talk about your winners or losers outside of there.
Yep.
Give me one winner for the offseason so far. We'll both give one at least, and then we'll kind of discuss. We'll discuss your pick. We'll discuss my pick. We'll see where we are after that. We'll discuss another pick. We'll see.
Okay.
Okay.
I think my biggest winner, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. I like what they did in signing Jonathan Allen, the defensive tackle. They got cut from Washington. They got two good offensive linemen in Will Freeze and Ryan Kelly, both coming over from the Colts.
Yeah.
Javon Hargrove, pretty decent defensive lineman that came over from San Fran and also has experience with the Eagles.
Yep.
And they brought back Aaron Jones. And they didn't force a move to keep Darnold in town, so they're going to be handing the reins over to J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, I think that's a great move. I think not forcing a quarterback in there is what they needed to do. I won't trip that trigger just yet. We'll wait on that. We'll wait on that till the end if we get there, because he doesn't need to be mentioned. But it was a really good team, and they've improved. That's scary as a Bears fan who's sitting here like, we've done great things too. But the Vikings are looking like, how do you play in that division? Like right now, and I think everybody's excited for it, that's not a Packers fan. The Packers look like the worst team in the division already.
Yeah, but we said that last year too, and they made the playoffs.
But I still think they have a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they do. Or they darn near made the playoffs.
This is the craziest NFC North that we're going to look at in years, by the way, that we have seen in years, and I think that we might not see for after some of these runs in. Okay, Rich, I'm going to give you mine. The Seattle Seahawks landed Sam Darnold,
go ahead,
relatively cheaply, and then the biggest news for them, picking up Cooper Kupp. They are making moves. They're building a team out there that I think has potential to be great. You have some hesitancy.
I don't know. I do have some hesitancy.
Your hesitancy has cost me dearly. Okay. Well, okay.
All right. Well, I admit, if I had to choose between Sam Darnold or Geno Smith, I think Sam Darnold is an improvement over that.
Yeah.
At least he's younger. But as you showed in New York and in Carolina, unless he's got talent around him, maybe his limitations start coming up. So he doesn't have the best offensive line protecting him in Seattle. And while I admit Cooper Kupp was a good signing, I think I would have rather had DK. I would rather be throwing the ball to DK Metcalf instead of Cooper Kupp.
Okay. Rich, I'll give you.
And they replaced Tyler Lockett with a washed-up Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
See, I still think Valdez has
Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah, that guy. I still think he has. I'm not saying he's hot stuff, but I still think he has something to show the league, and I think he'll play to a good level, good enough level. So I'm still good. I still like what Seattle's doing.
But yeah, I mean, by all means, I just want to see what was this a 1-year wonder of Sam Darnold playing in a great situation in Minnesota, or are you going to get the Sam Darnold that came back down to earth in the last 2 weeks, in the last 2 games, including their playoff game when he was a Viking and he fell flat on his face and showed who he really was before he got into Minnesota as the starting quarterback after McCarthy got hurt. The other team that I'd have to say is a winner is the Washington Commanders. They got a pretty good offensive lineman in Laramie Tunsil. They brought in Javane Kinlaw, so there's a lot of familiarity. They brought back Marcus Mariota as a veteran back end, and that's the only thing. Those are the really big signings that are really catch. Oh, they brought in Deebo Samuel.
Yep.
I've always thought of Deebo as maybe an overrated guy, but you know, it's still a good veteran receiver, and he improves the wide receiving core for Jaden Daniels. So they're doing the right things for Jaden Daniels in bringing in guys that can support him and continue his development, and that's a key.
Okay, Rich, I'm not gonna give. We'll skip your last one there.
Okay,
I'll
give you that one. That was a little bit of a stretch.
We're gonna skip my winner because my winner is predicated and caused by partially your loser, helps me explain why they're a winner, but also one of my losers in the whole thing. So let's go over to losers. I'm going to start. I'm going to say Pittsburgh is losing this offseason, which is strange because Pittsburgh normally doesn't lose an offseason. They might not win, but they don't normally lose. They are in a tough position right now. They have no quarterback. They let my other loser. I'm going off. I'm going to go off. Sorry.
That's fine.
They let my other loser, Justin Fields, out of the building. You got Russell Wilson over here that is interviewing with the Browns. By the way, if I'm the Browns right now, you know what I do as soon as he gets into the office? I padlock the door behind him, and I say, "You want out of this office? What's the terms we're coming to?" And I say, "You're not locked in here. I'm locked in here. I have to write you this check. Let's make this happen." Pittsburgh has nothing. They're letting guys go, but they also are making moves that make them seem like they expect to get someone big.
Yeah, I mean their big signing in Pittsburgh is trading for DK Metcalf, and they
took that whole contract, didn't they?
They traded for him and gave him an extension.
Yeah,
but their only other noteworthy move, if you're looking at who they've signed, that probably the only guy that maybe catches your eye is Kenneth Gainwell, who was the second string running back in Pittsburgh, in Philly last year.
But is signing
and they signed Darius Slye.
By the way,
Darius Slye at the corner.
The other thing we have to say about that DJ Metcalf trade and sign made him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL.
I don't think DK Metcalf is that good to have that big of a contract.
They think he is, and if you're going to spend that money, what this shouts out to me is either they're going to go up to number one, which I don't think they're going to be able to do because Tennessee needs a quarterback. So they're not going to get to go up to number one. So they're hoping to get the second best quarterback in the league, in the draft.
Shedeur Sanders.
And I think that's Shedeur Sanders. And that's going to be a poop show. Is Shedeur Sanders and the circus going to work under a Mike Tomlin coaching staff? I don't think so.
I don't think that it would.
By the way, the reason I don't say that they're going to go get Aaron Rodgers is because you spent that much money. Aaron's in it for the money now. Aaron ain't playing games.
Yep, he's going to want to continue to his weekly appearance on the Pat McAfee show.
That ain't going to work.
He's gonna blame teammates and other people if
coaching
things aren't going as well. Coaching.
By the way, part of me wants him to go to Pittsburgh just so he can try to blame the coaching. And everybody knows Mike Tomlin is a better coach than Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback right now. And I'm not saying that he's a better coach overall. I'm saying right now, Mike Tomlin is a better coach than Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback right now. But yeah, Pittsburgh looks like they're trying to set up for a rookie quarterback, right? When you're paying other guys huge amounts of money, you need to cut somewhere. Where's the easiest way? If you hit on a quarterback, that's the easiest way to save the money. That's the biggest money cost. So if you are on the lowest end of the contract, which is their rookie deal, they're not going to flop for a year.
No, but I mean, if anything, I understand your point saying Shedeur Sanders is going to bring the circus with him.
And here to me is the biggest problem. You let the guy I think that could be your quarterback for the next 5 to 10 years walk out the door, And this is my biggest loser of. This is my second biggest loser of this playoffs. Justin Fields walked over to New York and signed with the Jets. And Justin Fields loses. He made $40 million. 30 of it guaranteed. 30 million guaranteed. Great for him. Here's the problem, though. Rich, I'm going to put a pin in what I'm talking about right now. I'm going to let you have the floor for a little bit. Tell us your biggest loser of this offseason.
I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints. Their moves have just head scratching.
Yep.
They're still restructuring contracts and re-signing players to be 500 and maybe make the playoffs because they play in a weak division and then get blown out and lose in the wild card round.
Yeah.
Eventually you have to accept the fact that you need to rebuild and get out from underneath contracts and stop pushing commitments down the road by restructuring and giving signing bonuses to keep players in town.
Wait. You mean a team that let a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback walk out the door?
Drew Brees didn't leave.
No, I'm talking Aaron Rodgers in the Jets that are doing exactly what you're saying that a team sometimes need to do, which is why the Jets are my biggest winner. Sorry, I just needed that transition.
Yeah, but by all means, they are.
They are my second biggest winner.
They hired the coach they hired the right coach for their guy.
Yep.
Who has experience being in a multi-year rebuild because he did it with Dan Campbell in Detroit.
Yep.
So they're not afraid to take their lumps. I understand where you're saying, well, Aaron Fields didn't sign with the best team.
No, he didn't.
New York could have been the one team that said, we guarantee you're our starting quarterback.
He's going to be their starter.
Any other team, it could have been, you'll be given the right, you'll be in an open competition for the job. And quite frankly, that's what happened to him in Pittsburgh. Yep. He was in an open competition, but Russell Wilson wasn't fully healthy.
Well, Russell Wilson's not coming back.
So he won the job. So he was the starting quarterback. Pittsburgh was, I think we were 4-1, but they went to Russell Wilson once he was fully healthy, and he never got back on the field.
Yeah, and that's a problem. It should have been Justin Fields' job in Pittsburgh. I think taking him off when he was playing as well as he did is the reason they lost him, by the way. To me, that would be probably the reason.
That's probably, but at the same time, you had him in the building for the entire year. So you saw his work ethic, you saw what he had to offer to you in game action and in practice from week to week.
Yep.
So maybe they didn't feel that it was worth the commitment, or they didn't want to match or exceed the amount that he was going to get from the New York Jets.
Yeah,
they probably had a dollar amount in mind of, this is our max that we want to that we're comfortable offering you. Fields took the more money since that was guaranteeing him starting this quarterback job, just like he was.
Yeah, but
just like it was in Pittsburgh.
I think Pittsburgh would have been a guaranteed start job if he ended up staying there. By the way, did you have anything else you wanted to say about New Orleans? I mean, you wrapped it up really nicely.
They keep
kicking the can down the road, and eventually that. I made the joke earlier. Is it going to become New Orleans Saints payday, where they have 1,000 guys? They have like 10 guys that are getting $1 million a year every year for the next 25 years, 30 years, 40 years.
Pretty soon, that's going to be the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think they've said like starting like in 2030 or whatever, they're going to be having $1 billion worth of deferred payments going to people.
Yeah, but by then, $1 billion will be this. Like, $1 billion won't even touch the salary cap. But
But there is no salary cap in baseball.
Well, true.
But yeah, I mean, they keep. I guess that they are okay being chasing mediocrity.
At best, they're chasing mediocrity. They're chasing mediocrity in the worst. So I would argue they are actually chasing poor performance, because what they're doing is they're chasing mediocrity in a terrible division. And you're assuming everybody else in your division is not going to be chasing mediocrity in it. And that you're going to be able to either A, win your division and then go out in the first round, or what? What are they?
Because you know what happens. You know what happens when you maybe have those 8-8, 7-9, 6-10 seasons. You don't draft high enough to draft impact players that can improve your roster. You're in the middle of the draft.
Nope. Yep. If you're not in the top 10, you don't have a great draft. And if you can't,
you need to really
rebuild.
hit on that player. You need to really hit on that player.
And the problem is, then you either have to take gambles, or you have to, and there's no full bets when you get there. So it's one of those hard things. Okay, Justin Fields. I mean, we've made it obvious. I think he signed for the worst team for him to go to for the best opportunity for him to play starter. Now, with that being said, my prediction, Rich, and this may take 5 years, it may take 10 years to come out. Justin Fields is the next Sam Darnold story. Let me lay it out for you. Sam Darnold gets drafted by a team who doesn't support him, doesn't give him the protection, doesn't do anything for him. Then all of a sudden, because they've continuously just not gotten him any tools or weapons, drafted another quarterback. Right? And then said...
yeah, I believe they did.
Yep.
They drafted somebody else. They traded Sam Darnold out to Carolina.
Oh, no. I'm
Matt
sorry.
Rule.
I'm sorry. They did even worse. Yeah. Didn't they do worse? Yeah, they did worse. They traded him down south so that they could pick up Aaron.
They drafted a guy named Josh Wilson.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah, they picked. I forgot about that guy. Good job. The Bears aren't this bad, at least. I hope.
But then
he
goes down to Carolina, where he's in a quarterback competition with Baker Mayfield.
Yep, and doesn't do great. And when you have two quarterbacks, Rich, how many do you have?
You got 0.
And then he gets traded and turns into free agent, and
signs a free agent deal with San Francisco. Sits a year and learns under Kyle Shanahan as a backup to Brock Purdy.
Then signs with Minneapolis and shows the world that this is why I was drafted number 3 overall. Justin Fields is going to come out, and by the way, he played fairly well last year. Yeah, there was some stuff he needed to work on. He had been gotten the crap beat out of him for the last 4 years. Give the man a place to be safe. Give the man a place to rest and relax. That will help him immensely.
But he's not going to get the relax. He's going to be starting.
Yeah.
He's going to be starting.
Yeah, so he's going to end up going to New York. He's going to play in New York, where he's going to get himself beat up again. And we're going to start this. He'll get beat up for 2 years. He'll start the first 2 years. And they'll draft a new quarterback, and he'll get an offer. He'll either get an offer or something. He'll get a league minimum offer as a backup, and get an opportunity as a young gun. Even though, by the way, he won't be over 30 by the time this happens. He'll get an offer, a young gun that he's the backup for. Will get injured. He'll go in and prove why he was the guy that should have saved Chicago.
It's just going to take a little bit longer than what.
Yeah.
Than it should.
Yeah.
I mean, if there was a team that I thought should have signed Justin Fields other than the Jets, assuming
Pittsburgh.
that
Pittsburgh's the first team that should have signed him.
The other team that I think would have been a good fit for him, Indianapolis.
Oh,
He could have been in a good quarterback competition with Anthony Richardson, the two guys play a very similar type of football
Yeah, but
in being bigger, running bigger quarterbacks with running ability, so you wouldn't have had to adjust the offense
yeah,
if you did have to play the two quarterbacks equal one.
yeah. So with that,
But instead the Colts went with Daniel Jones.
That's our week 1 of free agency winners, losers. We might come back to this. We might not. We'll see. Rich, no esports to talk about. So spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. We are. I forgot you did have one more loser. Let's do that real quick.
It's good. I'm good. Well, but you know what? We got to talk one other thing in the NFL though.
Yeah.
Are you surprised that Aaron Rodgers has not signed with the team?
No. I would. By the way, I think we can talk about this one next week, even.
Okay.
Because I don't think he will be signed by then. Because here's why: he won't sign by then. Aaron Rodgers is off in some cabin, not seeing daylight for the next week, drinking ayahuasca and meditating on the existence of toe fungus.
Or we don't know what he's doing.
No, I'm just saying, we don't actually know, but he's doing some stupid thing like that is terrible for him in the offseason, terrible for whatever team ends up signing him in the offseason. He brings very little to the table other than, hey, look at me, I'm on the Pat McAfee show, and I'm going to complain about the blah, 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 and I don't da. He's terrible. He's a cancer to whatever team he's going to be on. He said it was going to be different when he got to New York. Did it look any different this season? Was he a cancer about his podcast, about his blah, blah, all of that BS that he's been doing for the last 5 years, 10 years? The man, I'm even taking off the fact that he was a Packer. Let's just look at what he did in New York.
He only had a season and one game, or like a quarter of a game,
or 18 seconds in a game,
8 snaps and a full season in New York.
And the man
put up decent numbers, but how much of a distraction was he?
Yes.
How far back did he set this team by saying you got to sign? I want this guy as my offensive coordinator. I need washed up guys like Aaron Lazard and Randall Cobb signed, and hey, Devontae Adams wants to come play with me. Acquire this guy. Get him on the team.
He played 8 snaps. In his first year. Didn't give the team a chance to say, hey, I know we didn't play well with our backup. We got guys here. Let's get you learning, working with these guys. No, he's like, rejects. I want my guys. And then they get him his guys, and he does nothing with it. The man is a cancer, was a cancer in New York. He was a cancer in Green Bay.
At the end of his Green Bay tenure.
By the way, I don't know if you remember this, but in his draft class, there was talk that his relationship, there was questions about why his relationship with his family and all that stuff was such a strained, to which he never gave a good answer. And now we're seeing a personality trait of someone who can't accept blame for things, and that if you don't do it his way, he's not happy. That works with some quarterbacks. Some quarterbacks are that good. Aaron Rodgers has the skill to be that good, by the way. The problem is his focus is on his podcast, his Pat McAfee show, his ayahuasca, all of that garbage that he brings to the table when he does this. That is why Aaron Rodgers shouldn't be signed. If I were the NFL, I would collude against him. And I would boldface tell him, Aaron, nobody in the NFL is going to sign you unless you clean your up. Don't be an idiot.
and that's what it's going to take for him to get a contract, because he still has the attitude and maybe the pride that he's the guy that was an MVP candidate 4 years ago. He's not that level. Or even 6 years ago. He's not that
Rich, I got
level
a
of
question
a quarterback
for you.
anymore.
I got a question for you.
Sure.
Aaron Rodgers is a little younger than you, a little older than me. In fact, he's only like a year older than me. He's a year older than LeBron James. But you're only like 2 years older than me. Rich, can you physically do the things you did 5 years ago?
No, I can't.
What? Everybody talks about it. There's a magic number you hit, and I'm not saying that you fell apart instantly, but legitimately, I'm coming up on a number for which my body, unless I put chemicals in it, does not recover the same as what it did 5 years ago. What number is that, Rich?
Probably going to be the 4-0.
I hit 40 this in a month and in 2 months and 6 days.
Or you've got to really be taking care of yourself if you want to continue to play at peak level. Quite frankly, Rodgers isn't. Rodgers' priorities are somewhere else during the off season. Because how can you say to your team, we need to put the focus on coming together, being a good football team, and putting the focus on football, and but I can't. I'm going to miss the start of mandatory mini camp because I've got this vacation that I booked in Egypt. So I'll be a little late to training camp.
Yeah, I'm not.
But you all focus on football, and I'll be there. I'll be there when it matters.
Aaron, you're never going to watch this, but if it gets to you some way, shape, or form, you and I think we're like 8 months apart. Do me a favor. I get you don't have any needs. You don't have any wants. But if you want to continue to play this game, you need to put in the work. What was easy 10 years ago will no longer be easy to you, and it never will be again. You have to put in the work. And I'm not saying you don't put in some work, but when you show up late to train if you don't show up to OTAs, if you don't show up or you show up late to training camp, oh, I get it. You healed up your Achilles faster than anybody else. And I get it that you're on the road to recovery and you're looking better and you're feeling great, but you still got to put in the work. And if you don't do it, you're never, ever, 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 ever going to be back as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Period. Okay, with that, should we do our spoiler alert?
I think so.
Okay.
So, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. We're going to be talking about the Masked Singer.
Yeah.
If you're a Masked Singer fan and haven't had a chance to watch this week's past episode, feel free to tune out or put us on mute to finish the episode and bring us back at a later time when you've had a chance to watch the Masked Singer. Mike, if they're listening to us, if they're watching us here on YouTube, but they just want the audio version of the show to make it easier to listen to in the car, where can they find the podcast episodes?
Anywhere where you find your podcasts, Facebook or YouTube podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I think we're even on Amazon and iHeart.
All right, Mike. And if they're listening to us in podcast land and they want to make sure to
where should they
look
they go to vote?
Vote on our poll questions. Click on the link in the description there should be a link to our Facebook page where you can find our weekly poll question. A weekly poll question at Fans of Balls and Sticks or Balls and Sticks, the podcast, over on Facebook. And if you're also, you can find the video portion of our podcast over on YouTube. Okay. Also, in our show description, there should also be a link to our NCAA tournament bracket challenge that we're doing on Yahoo. And whether you're listening to us on YouTube or in podcast land, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yep.
Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. So, Mike, it was Ghostbusters night on The Masked Singer.
Yeah.
I thought everybody kind of fit the theme, either with their story, the way they sold the storyline in the clue package this week, and I thought most of the songs were appropriate. There wasn't like that head scratcher of how does this fit with the Ghostbusters theme.
Yeah. No,
So I thought they did
totally
really
agree.
well. Who was your favorite performance of the night?
I'm still getting blown away by Pearl.
Okay.
But I think Boogie Woogie might be the best.
I agree. I like the Boogie Woogie the best too.
Like, Pearl, every time she sings, I think the problem is Pearl gives such a story that you feel like she's down here, and then she performs up here. Boogie Woogie comes out and he's like, I'm the best. I'm great. I'm awesome. Look, yeah, there was some bad stuff that happened, but I've risen above. And his stories always come out feeling more positive than sad. Pearl comes out feeling sad, so you don't know what to expect from her, and then she blows it out of the water. Boogie Woogie comes out and you're feeling great. You're like, no. And he comes in with the energy, and he comes in with the full force of everything he's got, and he does an amazing job. And man, I think he's the best.
Okay, I agree. I think I like it. I still liked the Griffin did a nice job this week too. I liked his performance.
And like we said last week,
it's gonna be a tough.
We already
it's gonna
said,
be a tough unmasking though.
We already said
for this group.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. We already said that Space Ranger was going to go home. There was no question last week who was going home. We knew it was a Space Ranger. Didn't know at the time who it was. And guess what? It was a Space Ranger. And Rich, I didn't realize he was out of jail.
I didn't know he was ever in jail.
I thought he went to jail for money laundering.
No, I don't think so.
Well, because he had that restaurant in Kansas City, in Clinton, that turned out to be a money laundering scheme.
I don't know if he ever went to prison for that, but he's gotten a lot of good press lately for what he did during the Olympics in
that amazing?
In Paris.
Yeah. By the way, if you can't tell, Rich, tell the people who it was.
The Space Ranger was none other than Flavor Flav.
Oh, you got to do it better than that. You can do it.
Flavor Flav.
There we go. That's my guy.
And you know what? It was a good clue package. I liked it. I mean, as soon as they revealed the sunglasses, yep, it was Flavor Flav.
Yeah.
100%. But I liked that they had like the box of chocolates to talk about his reality dating show from back in the day, Flavor of Love.
Yep.
And the PE, I had totally missed like the PE for Public Enemy. So that was
when they brought that up. I knew exactly.
As soon as they brought that up, yep, that made sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Rita Ora made this. I know you've been trying to manifest and guessing this person on multiple seasons, but I don't remember Flavor Flav ever getting brought up as previous guesses for other people.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Anyway,
but no, I don't think he ever went to jail. He might have gotten some bad press for his chicken joint in the middle in a small podunk in a small town in Iowa, being a front for money laundering. But I don't know if did it ever get back to him that he or was his name associated with it, since he was the front man and one of the main investors.
Okay, so what I'm looking at it was he partnered with a guy. And the goal was to make it a national franchise restaurant. The owners were squabbling and bounced checks, made really bad business decisions, and shut it down. Apparently, it never and then his partner at the time just ended up paying Flavor Flav for licensing his name. It ended up being, which is not what Flavor Flav wanted to do. So, yeah. I don't know. It's whatever.
You know, if anything, I mean, it was a fun performance.
Yeah, no, he did.
I thought he did a lot better than he did last week. A lot better.
Right, and I 100% agree. I think this week he was serviceable. I think if this performance was last week, he deserved to go on to this week. He was better than what's her face that went home last week. But neither one was good enough to go on to next week. And next week's final for Group B is going to be amazing. So
going to be good. It's going to be tough. Do you have any guesses, or did you like any of the guesses that were given for our 3 remaining contestants in the group of Griffin, Boogie Woogie, and the Pearl?
I liked some of the guesses for Griffin.
Yeah, I did too. I know it's not him, but his character almost feels like a Josh Gad. But I don't think it's him. But I did like the Jason Segel guess. I'd love it to be Jason Segel.
I don't think it is Jason Segel, but I think the NPH guess matches a lot of the clues. I'm just clue-wise, it makes sense. But none of the clues ever make sense, so what do I...
No. Well, or they do once they start talking about them in the unmasked interview.
Yeah. So, okay, with that, folks, thanks for joining us this week. We really appreciate it. If you can hit that like button down there, subscribe. That'd be helpful. We know that 4 to 6 of you are subscribed. Come on back. Join us. If you want to say something, I honestly, I forgot to pull it up. Let me pull it up, see if we have anybody that's commented on it. I like to do that because I like to. Let me mute this. Okay, boom. 0 comments, but if you could, come on. We have 12 subscribers, and we'd love to have you come back. We're gonna try. I know we're not consistent on whether it's Friday or Saturday. It's gonna be one of the weekends. But if you are watching later in the week, make a comment. Let us know that say hi. We'll give you a shout out next week. With that, Rich, any shout outs?
I don't think I have any shout outs this week.
I agree. So with that, Rich, what's it time to do?
Mike, let's go ahead and roll that outro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.